Welcome back to the Niner Nation podcast. I'm your host, Evan Nazareth, and I'm joined by Sydney Gallup, who's the Assistant Director of Marketing for the University Career Center and has served as an alternative service break learning partner. Really excited to have Sydney here today. This episode will be focusing on how students can improve their interview skills, explore their career interests and personal interests, and overall just learn about hobbies and ways that they can develop. So let's get started. Sydney, why'd you decide to work at UNC Charlotte?
Yes, so I actually came to UNC Charlotte for the first time at a previous job. I took students
Okay.
here to tour the university. So my previous role, I worked with first gen students, and I was the transfer counselor. So I helped students kind of choose what they wanted to do after their associate's degree. I took students here, and then I ended up falling in love with it as well. I really liked the campus environment itself. I met mostly with people in admissions when we came to the tour, and everyone was just so lovely. They were really accommodating. We got to meet a couple different people on campus, and I kind of left the tour and was like, oh, I could see myself living in Charlotte. I was living in like a really rural area at that time. And yeah, I think less than 8 months later, I made it happen. And with my role, I never expected to find a position where I could do marketing and kind of use my creative side of myself, along with the helping nature that I have. So getting to work with students. So I somehow get to do both with my role. So it just had to happen. And I was really excited when I got the job.
Yeah, that's really cool. That was my deciding factor as well. When I toured for the first time, that was when I knew I absolutely wanted to go here. Touring the engineering buildings, great facilities, great people. That was also one of the main reasons. The culture here is really, really nice and positive, and everyone here who talks about it really enjoys just the beauty of campus and then all the upcoming stuff like that.
Yeah, it really is like a little bubble and community here. I remember on that tour, they talked about how it was almost like a city within the city of Charlotte, and I liked that too. I just felt like everyone was like really cozy here, had a lot of what you need, but then you have the light rail and you can go uptown and you're there, and you can also be a part of the Charlotte overall community. Yeah, so I love it.
So, what are some of your favorite places, either on campus or in Uptown?
Well, I live closer to Uptown, so I'm more partial to there. On campus, I love Thoughtful Cup. I love going over there, taking meetings over there when I can. I also absolutely love the botanical gardens here. That was probably another thing that influenced me to come here. Just getting to see the work that is happening over there. I did a workshop with the garden. The gardens at one point after I'd been hired. And I just love all the work that they're doing there. So I love spending time over there if I can get over there. I've seen a snake now officially in the gardens. So that was really funny. Somebody had to tell me that it was right behind me. So that was a good moment. But uptown, I'm a thrifting kind of person, but also like coffee shops. So there's just tons of places. I like supporting local. So I like to look for like local places. I think my favorite areas are probably like Noda, honestly. Creative place, a lot of artsy people. So that's what I love. Yeah.
Yeah, the gardens are great. A lot of good trails. We've had a lot
Good.
of different org meetings out there
Ooh, that's nice.
for different things.
Yeah.
But overall, let's get into the Career Center. So, what do you like about the Career Center, and do you want to provide just an overview of what opportunities are available for students?
Yeah, the biggest thing with our office is we just want to prepare and connect students. So we want to prepare them for life while they're here, and of course post graduation. But then we want to connect them to opportunities, connect them to employers, of course. So that's kind of a very brief summary of what we do. We work directly with employers, mostly in the Charlotte area. And then we, of course, also bring back alumni. So alumni are always in our office supporting initiatives and supporting Niners. But yeah, overall, our goal is we want every student to figure out what is their best fit. We really care about like sending students into positions where they're going to find meaning, that we've made sure that they feel comfortable and confident in those decisions and thoroughly thought that out. But of course, also helping them get experience. And experience doesn't have to be an internship, it can be, but experience can be other things too. And I think breaking down what that looks like for students, because every student is substantially different.
I agree with that. So where physically is the Career Center so people can
Yes.
actually go to it?
Nobody ever knows where we are. We're in the Atkins Annex. So if you go to the front entrance of the library, we are located to the right of it. So we have our own little bubble over there. And yeah, a lot of our programming is both in person, but we've also got a good mix of things that are virtual as well. We found that even after the pandemic, a lot of students really appreciated the flexibility of having some things virtual. So we've maintained that. Our meetup program is pretty much now fully run virtually versus like career fairs and things are now back in person, which is good as well. Getting to do those not virtually is a lot better and easier. But yeah, that's where we are. So we're kind of, I think, central to campus, but I know we're far away from certain places. I know engineering students, they're always so far away. So I know we're a little bit further away for some people, but yeah.
Yeah, the office covers a lot of different areas of things that people can do for on campus because you guys do resume reviews. You have alumni and employers come in to campus and like do interviews and stuff like that. So is there any like direct resources you recommend or events for students to get engaged with alumni and employers?
Yeah, I think if students can network with employers in person, that can make a big difference. I know I'm somebody who is socially anxious. I'm very introverted. So I've always loved doing networking more online. So using LinkedIn, we're big advocates for LinkedIn. But if you do have the opportunity to talk to people in person, that's just, it just opens up many doors for you. So we talk to students a lot about social capital and building their social capital because everybody needs to work on that and build that because that's what leads to successfully landing a lot of opportunities. So career fairs, they're getting really popular. I don't know if you went to the last one, but we broke records there. It was so crowded, which is great. But I think if you're not into that or you didn't get to talk to a recruiter at the career fair, we have other types of networking events that are a little bit smaller. They're more intimate. You get to actually talk to an employer for 10 minutes and actually strike up a conversation. You're not just handing your resume over to somebody, which sometimes that's more beneficial. You actually can develop a relationship with somebody at those events. My favorite one is it happens each fall semester, the Opportunities for All Mixer. So it's only, I think, about 40 employers that we invite to that one. There's a panel and then the mixer afterwards. But the energy is always just so high, and everyone just gets to talk to the employers that they want to talk to. It's a variety of employers, too, so it's not, overly concentrated with any particular types of companies and industries. So it's just a good opportunity for students to practice talking to people and talking to recruiters if that's something that makes them nervous. But yeah, the more that you can talk to people in person, the easier it does become too.
Yeah, it's great to have that practice. And you guys also have interview practice setup sessions that people can go to.
Yeah.
You mentioned social capital. Do you want to expand a bit more about what that entails?
Yeah, so your social capital is kind of the people that you have around you that you're networking with, that you're connected with. So I always like to break down networking and just think of it more as connecting. So you're building your connections. Some people naturally have a lot of social capital because of maybe their background, how they're raised. Their parents may be able to influence the connections that they have, and then other people might not have as many, have as much social capital as they're maybe entering college and throughout college. So they have to be a little bit more proactive, and they do have to go out there and find people versus maybe if you already have some people in your bubble that you can start with. With social capital, though, anybody can grow it. Anybody can kind of just start talking to one person, and then you in turn continue talking to people. The idea is that, we got connected through another person, so that's how we build connections, and we're growing our social capital in that way. And so the more people you know, and I would say you don't need to know everybody, right? That's not the idea. It's more of just knowing key people in your industry or people that you're going to be able to help just as much as they're going to be able to help you. So being able to give back and show that there's value that you can bring to them just as much as they're bringing a lot of value to you by being able to talk to them. So yeah, we work with students, whether it's directly coaching them or through like our meetup program, we talk about ways that you can network, ways that you can build your social capital up. So that's the probably one of the bigger important things. Don't I don't think I've ever sat through a coaching appointment where I'm not going to talk to them about networking and social capital and helping them feel comfortable with what that can look like for them. Because I want more students to be able to do that and feel confident doing that.
Yeah, I like what you said, which really what it is what it comes down to is putting yourself out there and what value can you bring to it. And sometimes that comes down to having just a variety of skills and interests. Like, for example, like people can have a certain major like comp sci or engineering, but they can also do a wide variety of other things, both in their personal time or professional time. Do you think there's any good ways of measuring and assessing that and like how you can balance and develop other aspects of your skills?
Yeah, I think students should just try different things that they're excited about or interested in. I know in our office, I sometimes have to catch myself because I will be talking to a student and recommending they do things like try to find a volunteer opportunity that's related to the career path that you're interested in. And I have to stop myself because there's no harm in volunteering somewhere just because you want to volunteer there, because you support the mission or you want to do that, but maybe you're not going to pursue that for your full-time job when you graduate. That's okay. Not everything has to be directly related to your major. You don't need to do everything and everything that is engineering. I think I remember when I first met you, I had asked you if you had an interest in like the environment as it related to engineering. I think I had asked you that because I was just in that frame of like, yeah, he has to be interested in this alternative
Yes,
service break because there's some engineering component here. He really cares about the environment, and that's going to be like what he pursues. So I appreciated you just kind of talking about like, no, this is what I enjoy, or I really care about this, and kind of separating the two. So yeah, I think students just need to explore if they have the time and capacity and can do that. Join a student org. Who cares like what the purpose of the student org is? It doesn't necessarily have to relate back, because we talk a lot with students about transferable skills too. So even with the alternative service break, you are gaining a lot of transferable skills that you can take into any industry. And so it's still positively impacting your career if we do want to dial it back and relate it to that.
Yeah, and that's something that's always been really important to me is just having a wide variety of experiences. So you get those transferable skills and those soft skills because you can get experience through anything, really, right?
Yeah.
So clubs, classes, instruments, whatever. Like being able to put yourself out there and challenge yourself to do different things is really helpful. So for you, for example, what do you think are some of your own interests that you've been able to develop through your time at the university or in your personal life? Just what do you think has helped you accelerate your career?
Yeah. My team, I'm very lucky in our office. We're very big on professional development and supporting each other in trying new things. So I get to, even though I sometimes push it away, practice with photography. That's always been an interest of mine. And now finally this semester, I'm like, should I go buy a camera and actually fully get into photography? So with my marketing role, there's been certain things that I've gotten to try out through that, and it's been very strongly encouraged. I also try to take part in random things. So the alternative service break being one of them. I also love the environment. I'm really big with sustainability. There's certain things with animals and things that are tied with environmental justice that I care about. And so even though that has nothing to do with my career path per se, I really wanted to be a part of that and be a part of that project. Even though I did definitely leave that trip being like, could I work here someday, or could I make this an option for me? So I'm definitely that person that's just like, I'm going to try out a bunch of different things, and I'm suddenly going to think that that's what I need to do career-wise, but I just have a lot of fun with it. There's definitely opportunities on campus. I've gone to the makerspace tons of times. They offer workshops there, and so I see those and I get people to do that with me. We do a lot of team building, and we'll go to the makerspace, so that's also a good place on campus to try different things out, and you can try so many different creative skills out there if you're just curious about that. So yeah, I'm very big on exploring and trying random things.
Yeah, I am too. And I'm glad that you mentioned photography and the makerspace because those are both things that I think are great in general, but also I think can make you probably better in your role as well through marketing. So do you want to expand a bit more about what you exactly do through the university within your role?
Yeah, so the marketing side of my role, because I'm also a career coach, so I work with students and then I also have a less student facing role with the marketing. My team at the Career Center is small, so but I love it because I get to support student workers as well. So I hire a university professional internship program, which is UPIP. You'll see that in Hire a Niner. There's internships that exist right here on campus, so definitely check those out. I hire a graphic design student. She's been with me now for, after the spring semester, she'll have completed 2 full years with me. So she's actually had like a 2 year internship, which is great. And then the other component of the marketing team is I have a grad assistant, and so she's a marketing specialist. With the marketing, I would say it's mostly marketing and branding. So those are the two components that I work with specifically. So making sure that students know who we are, what we offer to them, and figuring out how to showcase to students that we don't want all of them to necessarily come to our office. I'm not sitting here saying that that's my goal, that I need every single student to use our office in person or go to a career fair. It's more of there's so many different things that we offer. So helping students understand finding the thing that makes the most sense for them. So some students might prefer more of a one-on-one appointment. So that's where coaching is going to make the most sense. But for other students, they might be like, no, I just need to network with people. I enjoy talking to people in group settings. So networking events or going to a career meetup is going to be more beneficial for them. So I think with the marketing, I also like to break that down and help students understand that there's different things that are they make more sense for you as an individual. And so that's what I want to see, students using things in the way that makes the most sense for them.
Yeah, and I think that is really important because there is so much available at the university to the point where you have to pick and choose what is important to you and how you can use it. But basically, I think the main point of what I want to try and get across with today is that there are opportunities available within the Career Center, and using specific ones for interview skills or otherwise, just depending on what fits for you and your schedule, is important. So you're a career coach yourself for that. So do you want to expand a bit more about how that works?
Yeah, our coaching model is cool, or I like to think it is. We have what we call career communities. So I specifically work with students that fall into arts, media, and design. I previously worked with engineering students for like a semester. That's the role that I took when I got hired. And I was really excited when I got the opportunity to switch to arts, media, and design. So we basically group students into industry clusters versus majors because we're very big on the fact that, and you alluded to it earlier, a major doesn't necessarily pinpoint which career you're going to have or a career direction. A lot of different majors can mean different things and can put students on vastly different paths. So instead of grouping you by a major or like you're tied with a specific advisor who's tied to a major or a college, we're more so students have to come to us and seek us. So you're not required to meet with us. You're not required to join a career community. So you have to seek us out and do that yourself and kind of decide which one's the best fit for you. So career coaches are put into industry clusters so that we can handle and specialize in certain areas. So I'm a creative myself. I'm an artist. The marketing is really big for me, so I can be creative. So being in the arts, media, and design space has been really awesome for me, connecting with employers that my students would gravitate toward, getting more familiar with the College of Arts and Architecture. Those are all the things that I do to be a better career coach for those groups of students. But that means that I also meet with students. I've met with computer science students who are interested in maybe game design or something like that. So they come to me because they're more of a creative. So that's just an example of that. I'll also use this as an opportunity to plug our industry specialists, who a lot of people don't know that they exist. That's another team in our office. So I have an industry specialist who partners with me. We each have a partner as a career coach. And so there's an arts, media, and design industry specialist, and that's the person that is building those partnerships with employers. So they're creating that connection so that I can have arts, media, and design employers at our networking events or leading our meetups, that kind of thing. So they're kind of hidden because they're not as front facing as us. They don't work with students, so people don't realize that they exist, but they are at the heart of our office for sure.
That's important to have. And overall, I like that you focused on, I like the breakdown. I think that's a great way of doing it so people can come to you as they need to based on their interests. But you said yourself that you're really into art yourself. So what ways do you like to create and how do you like to express yourself through that?
Through this role and one of my colleagues, I've gotten more comfortable identifying as an illustrator. Since I don't proactively create art or I don't sell my art or anything like that, I've always struggled with identifying as an artist. I didn't pursue it as a career path, but I've realized that I can still identify as an artist. Yeah, I am an artist. So we actually have in our office a gallery that I didn't start it. I joined the project, though. My colleague Suzanne started our gallery, and we now feature student art right in our office. So that's also one way that I've gotten to tie that together. So I'm also a curator for a gallery with my role, and it's one of my favorite things that I do. I've learned a lot with how art needs to be displayed, the height that art needs to be at in a gallery. Like I've gotten to learn all these different things. But yeah, as an artist, I illustrate. I do mostly pen and ink is my style. I'm hoping to get a little bit more interested in learning more digital arts. I'm not yet there yet, but we shall see. We'll see if I go that path or not. But the photography is also there now too. I actually did a project over the summer with Photo Voice. Photo Voice came to our campus, and a select group of students got to participate, and then a select group of staff got to participate. And we basically connected using photography as a voice, so using that as a tool to communicate with people. And we connected various components of our identity with also our disabilities. So I got to explore through photography, but also explore some of my major identities of myself. And that's, of course, very freeing. And connecting with a group of people, it was a very small group of people, to explore and kind of see what art they were creating, what photos they were taking. And that really pushed me forward. I was like, yeah, this is something I could see myself doing. I don't know that I'll ever pursue photography as a career, but doing it in my spare time, it brings me a lot of joy. And so that's important to me.
Yeah, I like what you touched on, which is you didn't at first, and you were kind of in that mentality of I can't to I can. And I think that's something that's been really important to me over the past several years is just realizing that you can do anything because other people have. And so, because that's one thing that's definitely made me better, I would say, in graphic design. It's not something I expected I would be doing, but through different leadership positions I've had to make logos or different things like that, or artwork, or make flyers. And that's something that I've definitely become better at. And even music, for example, like when I was growing up, I would say, oh, I can't do this necessarily because, well, I played instruments and different things like that, but I always was saying, okay, I can only get so good. That's basically what I'm trying to say. But I realized it really is just how much are you willing to spend the time?
That is what it is.
Investing in it, and like how much do you care about it in order to be able to get good at it? And I found I've got a lot better at it through college, and I've ended up picking up a lot more instruments because of that since then. So yeah, I think the I can versus I can't mentality is really good, and you definitely get better at the more time you put into things. Yeah. So overall, what do you hope to accomplish in your role? What do you want to see by the time you leave it through UNC Charlotte or through marketing? What do you want to accomplish?
I think for me, I find a lot of joy in creating social media. I've really gotten to explore that, and I hope that students see the Career Center as fun and lighthearted. I hope to erase this idea that a career center can be intimidating. I think some career centers can be. I know there's career centers across the country where the staff all are required to wear like professional dress every single day. So some of them are that way, but our office is not. I hope that students feel that they can come into the office and that it's a very welcoming place, and that yes, career is serious. We're going to talk to you about serious things. We're going to get stuff done. We're going to help you out. But at the same time, we're going to have fun. Our office is lighthearted. And I like to try to get that across through the social media. Our social media sometimes has to be serious, but there's a lot of funny, very not serious things on our social media account. And that's the main idea with that is I want the digital space to be fun and welcoming, so that translates to students coming into our office, because that might be the first time that they see us is through our social media, and that might welcome them to check out our office. And so that's my hope. Yeah, I absolutely love my team and my office. Some of them hate when I walk around and I have my phone out and they're like, no, 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 I do not want to be in your reel. But I think at the same time, it's also brought so much joy and like connection between us, because it is hilarious, like creating content with the staff that I work with.
That's one of the things I think I really like about the office as over time, as I've gotten to go through it through classes and activities and events, is that it is more lighthearted. Because I've seen some of the content that you've made as well through the engineering office when you were in charge of that. And I thought that was really a good way of engaging and getting people to go, because a lot of people are just scared to go at first.
Yeah,
I think is the
I
main
know.
thing.
People put it off. They don't want to come.
Or just don't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So overall, what do you think are some of the main things that you want people to try and take advantage of, look into, things like that? And does the office really do an engagement with the community as well? So basically, what are the main things that you hope people utilize, and how do you make an impact on Charlotte?
Yeah, so I think the main things are take a look at our website. That's always a good starting point. We break down everything that we offer. I like to say pretty clearly on the website, or I hope. Definitely send me feedback if you have it. But, and try to figure out which of our resources makes the most sense for you. So some students don't have the capacity to come to our office, so they might need to use more of our virtual or our resources that are accessible 24/7. So career meetups are virtual, a group setting where they can talk to a professional, an alumni who's leading the discussion, or Big Interview is our interviewing platform that now we're using AI to provide feedback to students. So you'll get AI feedback. And so, of course, you can use that whenever you want to. But I think there's other things that students might need. Professional photos are expensive, so we offer professional photos in our office for free. And I really love the quality of them and what it provides. So
you
that's
also
something.
have clothing as well.
We have
right?
clothing, so students can get items each semester. You can come back. You don't have to give the clothing back either. It's yours to keep. We get donations primarily from employers and alumni who want to give back. We do clothing drives every now and then to try to get more. So the closet is always revolving, so that's really good. And then as far as the community, so we have a couple of programs in our office where we work with nonprofits, or we work to support nonprofits through whether we can provide the funding or if we've secured a grant from somewhere else that can provide the funding to the nonprofits. A lot of the nonprofit sector typically can't offer internships because they don't have the budget for it. So in that way, we work with the community to offer them either stipends to the students, so that if it is an unpaid opportunity, or actual funding so that they can provide those employment opportunities, those internship opportunities. And then a couple of us in our office do random, but they're related to our background. So I'm a first-gen student. So each fall semester, I work with a cohort of first-gen high school students. And I do a workshop with them, and I let them come in and actually get to use the photo booth, so they get their own professional headshot in high school.
That's really cool.
And just talk to them about like personal branding is the biggest thing, and what it's like to be a first-gen student. So getting them ready for college, feeling more confident about going to college and what that process looks like. So there's little things that a couple of us do that are specific with the outreach with the community or with local school systems as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So overall, what do you want people to take away from this conversation? Any advice? Anything else you want to say?
Definitely, if you're feeling intimidated by our office or scared about the idea of addressing career, because I do recognize sometimes it's not that they're scared of our office, it's more taking a step back. It's that they're actually just scared to take that step forward to actually think about career and actually start putting things into motion. I know some students put it off until the last semester because they just didn't want to think about it. It was too overwhelming for them. And so it was just easier to put it on the back burner and forget about it. So I think for anybody that's listening that is in that space mentally and just doesn't want to think about it just yet, take that leap, try to push yourself. Start with our website, try to find something that's helpful for you, or make an appointment with a career coach and start with them and just kind of talk through all of that. Because I do want students to engage with our office in some way by the time they graduate. It's going to look different for all of them, but that is really what I want. And I hope that students feel supported in finding experience that makes sense for them. So whether it is an internship, a co-op, or if it is pursuing research or a project, I want them to feel like they have the space to prepare for that and apply for those opportunities and secure those opportunities, so that they can be successful post-graduation.
Yeah, and I fully agree. I think it's a great way to give students that edge and help them in their careers. And okay, well, that's our time for today. Thank you so much, Sydney, for your insights on personal and professional growth. So be sure to tune in for episode 4 and follow at current CLT and at the.Nazareth for more information about upcoming episodes for episode 4 and so on. So be sure to stay tuned and go Niners.
Go Niners.